So hey guys, welcome to Kela Adventure, and today we have a couple of Kela group members who will be sharing their thoughts on this heated topic, burning topic, I would say, which is virus issue. And I would like to introduce you to a couple of our panelists. So we have Ranjan, who comes from a digital advertising background. Then we have Vikram, who is from the automobile industry, and we also have Anuj, who comes from a finance background. So, welcome all of you, and we are happy to hear your thoughts. So, let's start. Guys, what do you think? I mean, should China be held responsible for this entire issue which world is facing right now? And what's your opinion and thoughts on this? So, we can start with Ranjan.
Sure. Thanks, Yogesh, for the background and introducing all of us. I think there are two ways. The way I see it as uh, there was two ways to look at it. One, the conspiracy theories that are floating around. The second one is so either conspiracy theories or not, or I think one way or the other, in my view, China should be held responsible. Uh, because if not, that's been done kind of knowingly or got out of the China is being made or not. The virus has been bioengineered and that is released or not. Uh, or one thing is a fact that it has been held. The information was held for sure for far too long, which is why the world is in a situation we are here at the moment. So I think on one way or the other, you can definitely have a scale to understand how much they should be accountable for the situation or the mess the rest of the world is in. Uh, yeah, so that I mean, in short,
That's
that's
right.
what I would say. These are my arguments. Would be they should be held accountable
Yeah,
or
yeah,
responsible for
that's
what
true.
is
And
happening.
certainly, I mean, the way Italians are dying like flies, definitely, it's a big concern for the whole world. So I would like
It's
to go to Vikram. So Vikram, what's your thought? I mean, do you think China is responsible for this entire mess?
Uh, yes, Yogesh. According to me, there are, like Ranjan said, there are some conspiracy theories whether the virus is bioengineered or the virus came from the sea animals or the seafood chain that China uses extensively.
Yeah.
Even if we don't believe the conspiracy theories, China definitely hid the virus for too long,
Mm-hmm.
and they did allow the people to go out even after identifying that the virus is transmitting from one human to another at a much higher rate, and that really took the world by storm.
Yeah.
So the problem that could have been contained in China, because we saw how they contained the problem in Hubei province,
Yeah.
and none other provinces are that much affected. But from the Hubei, the people migrated to other locations, which could have definitely been stopped by China. And I think China should take the responsibility and blame for this.
mm.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I
So,
just want to add. I
mhm.
just want to add. Sorry, Yogesh. I just want to add what Vikram mentioned is not only China. WHO should be held responsible. Now you can argue that not equally or not because that's the that they decide the norm in the world health across the world. It seemed like as of I was seeing one of the tweets and some of the message that WHO was showing around that they first said, I mean, indication. I think that say that's a non-communicable disease. That means it does not transmit from human to human. So I think along with China, WHO should also be held responsible. And I think we can discuss about these later. But I just want to give, along with China, WHO is also responsible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I also do agree with this. Somehow WHO is also responsible for this, man.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's a global fact that Wuhan wet market city, I mean, wet market where this everything got originated, where animals are being slaughtered, and we all know that it all started from there. So there is no doubt that it all started from China. The only question is like whether it's something which is not uh, evolved naturally, or is it something which is made artificially in labs? So that is one more question which I would like to put across. So what do you think, guys? Is it a
And even I belongs to a financial this thing industry, so there is a loss of these things. Like the China has done this part intensely to down the US economic and worldwide economics because they want to be superpower and all. This is also one might be the reason behind it. This is also we should discuss on this part as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's where my next question is like how it is going to impact the global economy.
Mm-hmm.
And I have also heard a news where Freedom Watch is actually, they have actually done some sort of case on China, and they have asked for around $20 trillion
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah.
the damage.
Yogesh, the impact of global economy can be gauged by the news that the IMF have declared that
Yes,
this recession is much more worse than the 2008 recession that
Absolutely.
came
yes,
after the Lehman Brothers crisis.
yes.
The consumption is stopped. The entire countries are being shut down for 20 days a week. And you know how much each industry is losing. This we cannot estimate right now how this shutdown will affect lower income strata of our society. And
Yeah,
this virus
and it's
has
not.
not penetrated the African nations, which where they don't have the healthcare facilities. So
Yeah,
the impact on global economy is huge, and I think this will change the way the global trade and policies work around.
absolutely. And just want to add on to that that I think the worst part about this is the because obviously there is no cure at the moment. The uncertainty behind it. So uncertainty is behind it that we don't really know. So we know for the fact that yes, it's going to go for at least for the next few weeks for sure. But when it's going to end, we don't know. So the markets are bleeding. So people are whoever has whatever kind of money invested in the market. First of all, foreign investors they took all of their money out. Now, I mean, we don't as far as the manufacturing goes. I mean, Vikram can say more about it, or all the financial peoples or Anuj can say about financial trading and so on. Uh, but I think these markets are going to be affected quite a lot. As you mentioned, I work in digital marketing advertising.
Yeah.
There are lots of people who invest a lot of money to take off their campaigns live. We are seeing a lot of it. Although my domain was supposed to be online, it's is online and online business. I don't really have to go a lot of face to face. Still, my business is affecting so much that people are pulling out money. They are uh, a lot of partners and agencies that I'm working with, they are getting hit. So financially, yes, but I'm thinking also about. I think so because of uncertainty, because of this issue, it's kind of multiplying the fact that this financial uncertainty or plunge or recession will go on for a longer period of time. Because Lehman Brothers issue, that 2008 issue that came, I mean, everybody pretty much knew what was the problem, and they were trying to solve it. Here also we know the problem, but we don't know how long it's going to take because we don't have a cure.
The
Back then we
difference,
knew.
the
Hmm.
difference, Ranjan, between Lehman Brothers and this issue is that in Lehman Brothers issue, people could still work around and could
Yeah,
work for
exactly.
solving the issue. But here, the
Yeah,
people are not allowed. The countries are
yeah,
locked down.
Yeah.
The if you
so
take the
consumption
stock
is gone.
market, yeah,
Yeah,
consumption. If you take the stock market, it's down by 30% across the globe. If you
yeah,
take about flight booking, it's down by 98%.
yeah,
98%.
of
Can you
course,
believe
it
it?
absolutely vanished. Yeah.
Take for the restaurant industry, which is one of the major service providers, that is down
Hmm.
by almost 80%.
Hmm.
The durable expenditure, the mobile phone shipment, everything is down. The global trade is halted. The ships are not moving. Passengers are not moving. The tourists are not going anywhere. So
Right.
Lehman Brothers didn't have this kind of impact. It impacted
Yeah, for
some
sure.
the US
Yeah,
based company, but not everyone. And in India, I think we majorly due to Mr. Manmohan Singh policy and how robust the Indian economy was, we were able to escape Lehman Brothers crisis pretty well. But I
yeah,
think this will not happen this time.
Become explain us that about the global market is down by 30 to 40% nowadays. Even though we now you can see the people are like world are moving toward the digital currencies and all. Even you check nowadays the digital currencies, which is the booming industry, which is growing from last 2 or 3 years, 30 to 40% per year. Now this time, due to this coronavirus, is down by almost 50%. So this is a symbol that somehow we all are going towards a big recession, and I don't know how long this could be. This will be go ahead and
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think IMF has already announced that recession. We are already into recession. A lot of
I have a question over here. Like, do you think we would have been in a better position if China must have alerted everyone way in advance? And that I would like to know your thoughts on this.
So the
Because,
thought is that the China has done this intentionally because somehow, if I include this thing, conclude this, because somehow we know that the US and the China both have a earlier they had a trade war, and I think this was the major reason behind it, and the China has done the smartly job because I have a news that China has purchased almost the US, whatever the US company those are doing the business in China now major part of because of this coronavirus impact, the share price has been reduced by 70 to 80%, and now the China has invested millions and millions of dollars in that companies and become the major part of and bought the major share part in these companies.
yeah. I
Definitely,
just
Yogesh, I think
texted.
whatever the China has done, and if you talk about the timelines, December 1st was the date when the first coronavirus patient was identified, and the world came to know how
Hello.
and China locked down the. In fact, China locked down the Hubei province during the Lunar New Year holidays. That is
Yes.
last week of
Yes.
January. So
Yes.
this 1.5 or 2 months made the difference what we are facing today. And I definitely think China made this intentional because they were losing the battle on the trade front. The domestic consumption of China was down, and if you look historically, Chinese people are very what you say patriotic. So what I think the leadership gave them a reason to be a more patriotic, and gave the world a mess, and they just came out of it with just 3,000 number or 4,000 number of deaths.
yeah, that's true. And so it means, and it looks like China has purposely spent this entire corona issue just to become a global leader. So it's really scary, but
I think
but definitely now world needs to look into this more seriously, and some action needs to be taken so that it becomes a lesson for the all of us, entire world, that nobody should be messing around with such bioweapons.
so. Uh, I mean, what I was trying to say that yes. I mean, I don't really know. At this point in time, I think the focus should be that how damage control rather. So how do we control what has where we already end? There is no doubt, like you mentioned and like everybody said, and I guess in this discussion everybody agrees that one way or the other, either intentionally or unintentionally. Well, there was one intention involved always that it China did not alerted people if at all this went came out of the wet market. Uh, but if it's been engineered into a lab, then obviously there is a bigger repercussions to this because I mean you see a bigger problem than
Yeah, yeah,
just. But at this point on time, how we will come out of this, how long this gonna go, how bad is going to get. Like at this point on time, the numbers that we are seeing, it's around or less than 1% people who are actually uh,
Yeah.
kind of
Sorry, guys.
are dying. So yeah, that's what I would say. I mean, I mean, yeah, and IMF have already mentioned that the world is already into recession, which is much worse than 2008.
yeah, and that's where my next question will come. Like, how it is going to impact India, and I mean, I specifically would like to know because we are a growing upcoming economy, and uh, definitely these kind of setbacks is hampering us a lot. And in one of the speech which our Prime Minister has said that if we won't uh, get along with this entire crisis, then we might can go back like 21 years uh, in our economy trends. So what do you guys think? I mean, is it going to hamper us a lot, or is there a way out that we can expect in future?
I think our Prime Minister summarized it rather accurately, or I will say realistically, that if we cannot control this, then we might go back 20 years
Yeah.
economically. I will cite you some examples. Now every manufacturing is down. It's almost for 21 days we are locked down.
Mm.
The capacities are there. People have taken the loan from the bank. They are not able to pay back the liquidity. There is liquidity crunch in the
Mm.
market. The lower strata, the contract worker or the laborers, they are pretty much hit. There is no activity, entire activity in the market, and
Mm.
for 21 days they will lose their source of income. Now after 21 days, if the country reopens, it's well and good. Might these 21 days may not affect us that badly, but if we have to continue the lockdown, just think about those people who are living on a daily wages,
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
and that will affect us also, because as my company, the industry is not making or selling us anything that is applicable for all of us, except the medical healthcare industry. Rest of the economy is not doing anything. They are not selling, they are not making anything. So
Mm-hmm.
all our salaries will get affected. We will reserve our expenses. We will be very thrifty with our expenses. We will not go out and spend on restaurants. The
Yeah.
restaurant industry will go down. The service industry will go down. Will not particularly buy a car until the economy stabilizes. So the industry will go down. They will the consumption of steel will go down. The coal industry will go down. There will be less power requirement. The power plants which we are running, that are on loan, so they will be that will be difficult to they will find it difficult to pay back the loans. The
Mm.
small, medium or small scale industries which work on taking the working capital from the bank, they will find it difficult to pay back the loans, and probably the numbers of NPAs or non-performing assets will swell like a balloon or anything.
Yeah.
So we should all pray to God that this lockdown should not extend beyond 21 days.
Absolutely.
With that fact, I mean, beyond that or not, that all always depends on how do we come out of it, how do we respond, and we stay safe. Everybody stay safe. We get a cure to it. So that's how I think that's gonna decide that whether 21 days lockdown would be enough or not, or would we need more than that.
Mm.
Of course, it's undesirable to anyone, but I think what's required here is that people get healthy. Nobody should lose their D1s, and people should come out of healthy, because yes, the recovery is going to be very painful and long, but at least there will be something which you cannot mend it. Then it's much more difficult.
Yes, true.
Absolutely.
Yes, true.
So, guys, on a lighter side, I have another question, which we all know that China is very infamous about their eating habits. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but uh, in China, I mean, there is a stats which says that more than 80,000 people dies because of flu. And if you even look at the history, there are a lot of viruses which has been which came from China. So, do you think now is the time when China needs to think about their eating habits, and they should actually put a ban on their entire wildlife slaughter and all those wet markets which are running as an industry in China? What's your opinion on that?
Yogesh, I think this is the best time to go vegetarian, because
This is also
because once we start, rather the if we talk about particularly about China, where they can eat anything that walks or that swims or that flies or that glows.
Mhm.
Or
So
crawls.
That's
Yeah,
false.
anything which is like which can move under sun, they are
Yeah.
ready.
So, so the eating habits of Chinese, making a comment on their eating habits would be a kind of racist comment.
Hmm.
So that I don't want to mention, but yes, they should consider what to eat or what not to eat. And because with these, there are so many diseases that these animals are carrying are coming down to the human chain.
Hmm.
And we just saw one of the disease. There was uh, SARS. SARS was there. MERS was there. We saw Ebola that came through the bats.
Yeah.
This was predicted. This is still being debated whether it came from bats or porcupine. Then the AIDS that came from monkeys. So the human race should rather think about how interact with the wildlife and other animals.
Yeah.
Whether we should take the good things from them, the bad things also come. So definitely they need to relook on their eating habits.
Eating habit, the
So
main thing they should avoid is half cooking foods, man, for the China, especially the wildlife. This was this thing, non-veg space, the non-veg things.
yeah. So I think let me introduce you guys to Pramod as well. He's from a IT background and he joined us little late. But before we close this discussion, I would like his opinion as well on Chinese eating habit. So what do you think, Pramod? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, hello guys. As far as the eating is concerned, it's difficult to change the habit of people. But I would definitely recommend Chinese people to cook the food properly and then eat it. That would kill mostly the viruses in that. They shouldn't eat the non-veg things raw as such, or the living things directly. They should have it properly like Indians do.
Hmm.
So that would really help us.
Yeah, yeah, certainly. I mean, that is one advice which we all of us would like to give them.
I saw one video where they were eating
Chicken,
the animals alive. They were
yeah, yeah.
just pouring them some curries on them and then eating it alive. I saw some videos. It was very difficult to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a criminal act, I would say, and nobody should be eaten alive. Just think about yourself. If somebody starts eating you alive,
I,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I would say, I mean, eating habits are like, I mean, they have been doing this. I mean, a lot of people do. We don't really know how a lot of people eat which way. The reason why some of these Asian markets they sell and these wet markets exist is because people see them as food. And I don't know for what reason, for whatever, whether these are exotic foods or whatever that they seem
Mhm.
to have.
So,
But
Ranjan, I would like to put one more question. I mean, as you rightly said, there are different eating habits across the world. So, my point is the way Chinese are eating is really extreme. And do you think is there a particular reason why they have developed such kind of eating habit? Is there a
Mhm.
history, or is there anything which we can just talk about in like next 4 5 minutes?
Sorry, I'm no Chinese expert in that sense, but I don't really know why that is the case. To be
Because
honest, I don't.
if you look at their wet markets, I mean, it seems like they are running this as an industry. I mean, it's not
Mhm.
like some random people are capturing few animals and they are selling it. It's
Mhm.
a proper industry where these wild animals are being using them just for the human consumption. So,
Oh, by the way, do you guys know what caused this? So there are lots of theories that are coming out. One of them says, "Oh, it came from." Obviously, I mean the source is bat because that particular virus that it basically come from bat. But how did it transmit from bat to humans?
mhm.
So there are two ways. People initially they were saying it came from bat, and then some animal ate it. Probably it was a
Snake, I
pig,
guess. Okay.
pig, or some people, and now the new one it says pangolin. Do you know pangolin? So these are animals which have like scales on their like hard scales on their body.
Porcupines.
Porcupines, yes, or pangolins. They're also called
Yeah.
as pangolins.
Mhm.
So they basically those scales people eat them. That in that's like they call it as substitute to Viagra. So it's like
Oh,
increases their sex power. So that actually caused this. That's one of the theories, not theories, that one of the reports said.
yeah. Even I have seen one report where it says that the 90% of structure of this virus is very similar to bat. So if
Sorry, Yogi, please.
so, the 90% of the structure of this virus is very similar to bat. So,
Okay.
there is a report on this, and certainly it has came from bat, and then some animal must have eaten it. I have heard about snakes. So, snake has eaten bat, and then that snake got consumed by human, and that's
Yeah.
where it all started.
So
But
I also want to show you guys something which I just saw, since we have very less time, because this is some of the reports which I'm just sharing my screen to show you some stuff. So this is one of the stuff which just now came. It's like some time ago, which says world has entered a recession as bad or worse than global financial crisis. That IMF has already declared. Obviously, it's just been probably a couple of weeks
mhm.
since everything has got into an lockdown. So because of this coronavirus issue, the other one which I wanted to share is how does this coronavirus test kit works. Uh, yeah. So if you guys know it already, if not, then a swab is taken from the patient. So you take the swab from the mouth, and then sample is then sent to a lab, and then it comes. The sample is then put into a test tube, and then the virus genetic material, which is an RNA, is then turned into a DNA. So this is done through a reverse transcription. Then the next step is reagents known as probes and primers are added to the tube and then used to target certain parts of DNA. If the DNA is then present, it will be multiplied many times and create flashes of light. The next step is the diagnostic machine that they have record the level of light and compares it the positive and negative samples. And the last step is if there is a lot of light, that means the sample is positive for coronavirus.
That's a great insight, Ranjan. So now I would like to end this debate because we hardly left with any time right now. So thank you all. Thank you for participating and giving your insights on this issue. And we will try to get you engaged in more such debates. So thanks a lot and keep watching Kela Adventure.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye bye.
Thanks, Yogesh.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Okay, guys. So I think we are starting there. So let me start. Hey guys, welcome to Kela Adventure, and today we have a couple of Kela group members who will be
वे
sharing
रुको
thoughts.
रुको मैं वो टोपी लगाने दो वे
What the man?
अबे कोई नहीं, रहने दो, क्या हो गया? अबे राजू, तो तुम प्रॉपर प्रोफेशनल बन के बैठे हो बे।
अबे तो क्या समझो तुम साले।
अभी तुम साले अनुज टेक्नोलॉजी के मामले में 1900 में जी रहे हो साले। तुम अभी भी बिटकॉइन बिटकॉइन कर रहे हो। बिटकॉइन तो साले 1800 शताब्दी में महाराणा प्रताप यूज किया करते थे।